We've been seeing biodiversity loss since around the 1970s, and it's triggering huge policy changes all around the world. We've got investors looking at nature through the TNFD regulations. So for example, construction projects now have to deliver a minimum of 10% biodiversity net gain. So it's a real pivotal moment from nature. So at Speedy, we're responding to the nature challenge by committing to be a nature positive business by 2030. And we released our nature positive roadmap back in June this year, which really sets out how we're going to meet that challenge. At Speedy, we're doing a number of things. So we're looking at nature within our operations. So what is our biodiversity footprint of our operations? And how can we contribute to nature? So at Milton Keynes, for example, we have a living wall and we have a wellbeing garden, and we're working across our depot and property estate to really try and embed nature into those facilities. We're bringing nature into the boardrooms, so we're having discussions around what's the nature risk to the business. Also, what opportunities does nature provide to us? So how can we be a more commercially successful business and work better with our customers by having aligned nature goals? So whilst we don't build things at Speedy, we're not building construction projects, we have a huge contribution because we're putting lots of equipment and kits onto those construction sites. So for example, when we invest in eco-technologies, not only does that have a climate positive impact by reducing emissions, it actually has a nature impact because less pollutants in the environment is more positive for nature as well. If we think about what we're doing in the construction sector, we're building future infrastructure, so highways or railways. We're building buildings and cities. So we have a huge opportunity in that process to thread nature through all of that. So we're creating green infrastructure and green cities of the future that not only solve the nature challenge, but actually provide a huge amount of climate change resiliency going forward.
I worked with Amelia to really understand where Speedy Hire is in terms of nature. And it's a really interesting one for Speedy Hire because they underpin and support so much of construction, but they're not out there building themselves. They're, fundamentally a key part of the supply chain. We're now moving through the roadmap and think about the baseline. And that's important, where we map Speedy's value chain and think about, okay, so where are the impacts on nature? Where does Speedy really depend on nature across its value chain? So biodiversity net gain is for development to leave biodiversity in a measurably better state than before. So it's a way of designing and building and maintaining our development where we avoid and minimise our biodiversity impacts and then create more wildlife-rich habitats afterwards. It's very much site-based. The movement towards nature positive is thinking about your impacts on nature throughout the whole value chain. So the global agenda for nature positive is here to stay, and it's a really exciting place to be, but it's an important place to be. This is the time for businesses to recognise they have a seat at the table, but to be part of a community. And it's absolutely that place to say, okay, we're in, we're going to commit, we're going to be part of that developing conversation about exactly what nature positive means for our industry. We're going to work with universities, with academia, with society, with governments to all work together on this agenda. And it's really exciting to see Speedy take that position, to have that community approach. And that's definitely something to do.